Hi everyone, welcome to Miss Shannon's story time, and we are on the verge of Thanksgiving. So today, of course, I would love to read a Thanksgiving story. I have not read this one yet, but we're going to give it a run through since it is a cute little Thanksgiving story. And here we go. Franklin's Thanksgiving by Paulette Bourgeois, and illustrations are by Brenda Clark. Here we go. Franklin's Thanksgiving, based on characters created by Paulette Bourgeois and Brenda Clark. And there's a little note over here that says, "With gratitude to all the farmers in the world. BC," short for Brenda Clark. Yes, it is important to think about all the people who work very hard to assure that we all have food and that we all have an opportunity to eat something healthy and sustainable. And here we go. Franklin liked everything about Thanksgiving. He liked eating pumpkin pie and cranberry jelly. He liked making cornucopias and corn husk dolls. But most of all, he liked having his grandma and grandpa come for dinner. It was the family tradition, and Franklin could hardly wait. And here is his grandma and grandpa. I think we all like that, having our grandparents, our aunts, our uncles, cousins. A week before Thanksgiving, a postcard arrived from Franklin's grandparents. "Oh dear," sighed Franklin's mother. "Grandma and Grandpa can't make it back for the holiday." "But they have to," cried Franklin. "They're always here for Thanksgiving." Franklin's mother gave him a big hug. "There will still be the four of us," she said. "It won't be the same," Franklin grumbled. Yeah, that's sad. Sometimes our family members can't come to holiday dinners. Over the next few days, Franklin was so busy that he didn't have much time to think about Grandma and Grandpa. He helped his mother pick apples, make applesauce. He helped his father dig up vegetables and store them in the cellar. Franklin and Bear helped Harriet and Beatrice pick berries and gather nuts. In the gardens and orchards, forests and fields, everyone was bringing in the harvest. There they are, collecting all the food that had grown throughout the spring and summer. At school, Franklin's class made a harvest quilt and learned how the early settlers celebrated Thanksgiving. "What are you doing for Thanksgiving?" Mr. Owl asked Franklin. "I'll have dinner with my mother," he replied. "Our relatives can't visit this year." "Ours neither," said Franklin. Then he had an idea. He invited Mr. Owl and his mother for dinner. "It's all right with my parents," Franklin explained. "They want company." "Well, thank you, Franklin," said Mr. Owl. "We'd be delighted to come." Franklin smiled. This would make a wonderful surprise for his parents. So do you think Franklin did ask his parents if Mr. Owl could come with his mom? I don't know, because it seems like he kind of did it on the spot. So we're going to have to see what happens. Look at that delicious pie. All of them sitting there. I like pie. I wonder if you all listening like pie. Sometimes people just want the cookies or cake, a little bit of turkey. We all like different things at Thanksgiving. That's what kind of makes it fun. Part of what makes it fun is all the different foods that we bring and we cook. At home, Franklin's mother looked at the berry pies cooling on the windowsill. She had an idea. She walked over to Bear's house and invited the whole family for Thanksgiving. It will be a wonderful surprise for everyone, she explained. Oh dear. Franklin's house is going to be full from the sounds of it. In the garden, Franklin's father waved to Mr. Mole. "Are you going to your sister's for Thanksgiving?" he asked. "Not this year," replied Mr. Mole. "With my broken ankle, I can't go far." Franklin's father had an idea. He invited Mr. Mole to dinner. "It will be a wonderful surprise for everyone," he explained. Oh my goodness, the list keeps growing. After school, Franklin went home with Moose. That's when he had another idea. It was the Moose family's first Thanksgiving in Woodland. Franklin invited them for dinner. "It's all right with my parents," he explained. "They want company." "We'd be delighted," replied Mrs. Moose. Franklin smiled. His surprise was getting bigger and bigger. I think everyone's surprise is starting to get bigger and bigger. On Thanksgiving morning, Franklin got up early to help with dinner. He stirred soup, shucked corn, then he set the table for 9. Franklin's father counted the place settings. He shook his head and reset the table for 5. Franklin's mother looked at the table. She was puzzled, but she added 3 more place settings. And everyone took turns peeking out the window, watching for the surprise guests. Oh my goodness. This is going to be a big surprise for sure. Mr. Owl and his mother were the first to arrive. "Surprise!" Franklin shouted to his parents. "This is a surprise," they exclaimed. Then Franklin saw the Bear family and Mr. Mole. Now everyone was surprised. All the guests crowded inside, holding platters and bowls heaped high with food. Franklin and his parents laughed and tried to explain what had happened. "Well, we sure do have plenty to eat," declared Franklin's mother. "We just don't have plenty of room." Franklin knew they had a big problem. The Moose family hadn't arrived yet. Franklin looked around. There wasn't one bit of room inside. But outside, suddenly Franklin knew what to do. Moose and his family arrived as all the others came out the door. Everyone carried food and dishes, tables and chairs. "What's going on?" asked Moose. "We're eating our Thanksgiving dinner in the field," answered Bear. "Just like the early settlers," said Franklin. It was a wonderful afternoon. Everyone ate lots of good food, and everyone said how thankful they were for good friends and family. Franklin was thankful for 3 helpings of pumpkin fly pie. "I'm eating Grandma and Grandpa's share," he explained. Soon the sun was setting, and it was time to get home. "This was a wonderful day," said Franklin's mother. Franklin agreed. "Let's do it again next year," he said. Everyone laughed and cheered. Grandma and Grandpa phoned later that night, and Franklin told them all about the new Thanksgiving tradition. They promised that next year they wouldn't miss it for anything. Franklin smiled. He might not get 3 helpings of pumpkin fly pie next year, but he knew he'd still be thankful. The end. Well, thank you for joining me on this Thanksgiving Eve, the day before Thanksgiving. That's when this is being recorded. I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. If I have time, I might pop back on here and read one more story that could be a Thanksgiving theme. I want to close before leaving and show this beautiful little rag doll. If anyone's interested in these, they can find this one on my Etsy shop, Craft Gifts by Shannon at Etsy. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for that wonderful Thanksgiving story. It had beautiful pictures. I hope you enjoyed it. Come back soon.